GM. GM. So, how do I minimize this? It should go away. Anyway. Today is Thursday, 30th of May, and let's take a look at daily levels. Voice, sound should be fine now. I've turned the mic back up. Even when I'm moving through different hotels and stuff as I go on this trip. Why is this not? There. Gone. Still recording, yeah? Okay. Boomer moment. Yesterday, another positive day of inflows, but 2 days in a row that are low. Obviously, we've been having over 100 mils in weeks gone by, and it's dropped off quite significantly. So people are wondering why that is. I think really there's a simple answer, and usually the simple answer is the best or the most accurate. Nothing's actually trending yet on high time frames. So I've seen a few questions from students saying, if all the news is bullish, if the market should be bullish, if the ETFs are coming for Ethereum and all this good stuff's happening, then why is stuff pulling back? First of all, stuff pulls back because it can't only go up. And we had quite a significant move up, especially on Ethereum, whenever the ETF rumors got stronger and stronger and we're heading towards it. So part of it is just that. Part of it is it went up a lot and it's pulling back a bit. But it could be doing the red path here, just chopping before breakout. Or it could be doing something different entirely. Because today what I'll look at is high time frame positioning. And we'll look at here. And we'll say Ethereum, despite all the good news, is not trending at this level. Right? That is still a consolidation. The trend is there, the move up. This is consolidation. Now, if it goes like that, it's trending again. If it goes like this, it's still consolidating. And that's on the highest time frame, that reasonably that you look at, the weekly. So it moved up on a weekly into resistance. Bitcoin, same. Right? Weekly chart, not trending, but consolidating. And consolidating nicely and has been for several weeks now. And it's the same exact thing. So you go across the market, you look at pretty much everything, even coins that I'm long and that are doing decent and doing better than most, like Chainlink. It's having a nice move up, but it's only moving up from support towards resistance, right? It's not on a high time frame, on a weekly chart, it's not trending from here. And take Solana, right? Same thing. Solana, even if you go down to a daily, is just trying to work its way through a range and build some kind of a base into the range high where you could be looking for a breakout. Or it could fall back. And then you look at total, which just looks at everything, same thing. Total 2, even with Ethereum's big move, same thing. And total 3, same thing. Now what's good is total 3 is the weakest out of all of them, which tells you that the altcoin market is not leading here, it's lagging. And that's fine. Stock market also pulling back. If you remember, I mentioned this when they took out the highs. Said, be mindful that stocks have just done exactly what they would do at a top, which is take the highs and reject. And so then it comes back inside. And then you see more chop throughout the election year summer, which can happen, as I showed, I think it was on Weekly Outlook, or I showed it on one of the recent streams or recent videos, that the market the market often does chop around for the entire summer, or a good portion of it, if it's in an election year. And if that's going to affect crypto, you would expect yes, because stock market always tends to affect crypto to some extent. So with all that, it's easy to see why we're not mooning today or this week. lower than usual ETF flows. Everything is not trending yet on high time frames. Zoom all the way out and remember that. Everything's not yet trending on high time frames, but people are sort of acting as if it is, with the news and with everything that happened with Ethereum. People are sort of like, well, we should be pumping, right? We should be trending, but not really. I think if Bitcoin stays in this support resistance flip kind of setup, the longer it can do that, the better. This is some of the longest consolidation that we've had above 67. So this is really, really good if it holds, because this wasn't consolidation. We got above it in an uptrend, then we got below it in a downtrend, then we got above it and there was some consolidation there, lost it, little bit more there, and then lost it. So Bitcoin hasn't actually held above this 67k level for very long in the past. And if it's able to actually stay and hold, any breakout that follows would definitely have much greater chance, at least, of being a valid one. As you can see it building. So very important level, obviously, to watch. And you can see that by the way it's being defended. And some positioning just probably needs to be rinsed out. Overall, though, the market is not. There you see the 1 week return buckets. This is something actually good to keep an eye on every day. It's a good visual. If there's more red than green, it means more coins are down than up in the last week. Out of the top, I think it's 125 or whatever. Just one to glance at. You're not seeing everything, mooning, which is good from a perspective of further consolidation. Large cap, mid cap, little bit of positive funding coming in. Small cap, little bit again on some of them, some of the shit coins. And so overall, nothing too bad there. Volumes, this is an interesting one to watch. Obviously, whenever the Ethereum news come out, we had a massive spike of volume and burst of interest over the next few days. The day of the changing of the odds and then the day of the approval itself. And since then, the volume has died back to more summer levels. And so this is the last thing that I want to talk about. Summer markets are low volatility by nature and can produce chop. Don't forget that Bitcoin last summer did the exact same thing up here, where as we went into June, Bitcoin had a rally from a range low after a 2-month sell-off up to the highs, and then it just drifted for another 2 months. We had a sell-off for 2 months from March until May. We've had a rally up towards the range high. I still think we can and probably will push up one more time, but don't be surprised if we just end up doing almost a repeat of last summer. Not because the price action has to repeat, but because summer is summer. And if the stock market goes choppy leading up to the election, and if there's not as many people around trading crypto, which there never is in summer, as many, you can see it just struggle to break out. There might not be enough momentum or impulse to break it out. But on the other side, on the flip side, like Professor Ayush talked about when we did the crossover stream, when you have low volatility in the stock market, it allows things to rise, because low volatility means low risk to the downside. And if it's in a bullish market and a risk on market, things tend to just grind higher. It doesn't have crazy big pumps like this. It just tends to grind up higher. And that's the stock market. Bitcoin, I've never really seen it grind higher. Bitcoin doesn't tend to grind higher. It tends to consolidate and then impulse. Does this throughout every... I guess the example would be the second part of last bull run. That was a bit more of a grind. It wasn't really impulsive. But usually what Bitcoin does is impulse, 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 correction, impulse, correction. So we'll see. Maybe it could do what it did in early 2021, where it just pushes and pushes, but that wouldn't really be great. That would be more of a distribution type of setup. Anyway, I think overall, not a market to read too much into. Not a market to be very long in either. I would pretty much just have spot exposure here. And if you have any longs, the only other long I have open is I have a Chainlink one open with a stop loss now at break even but that's a higher time. That's a quite a wide stop. That's like a daily chart trade. And then the Bitcoin swing long, which I've opened from over here, which has been open now for over a week. But outside of that, spot exposure is probably best until you see a little bit more, because currently we're just at resistance on most of these and consolidating. And people have gotten themselves quite long on some coins, on some exchanges, like Pepe, for example. The funding, every time Pepe tries to move, the funding spikes really high. But I'm going to update those ones in trade of the day. And later on, we'll do altcoin requests. So I'll open up the chat. I'm going to do it earlier today because I'm traveling. So I'll open up the chat an hour before, get your altcoin requests in. We'll go through those and we'll see what the market's looking like. Meme coins might be the place to have a look at. So there we go, GM.